3, 2, 1, action! This is the Coke Works. It took me a little bit of doing to get here. I've actually never been down here by the Monongahela. An insane amount of coal has gone into the air here. It's truly amazing. Ow! Oh, how much we fucked up the place. So, this is going to be my last recording. Oh, shit. Always got to check to make sure it's recording. We were at 1 minute and 8 seconds. That sounds about right. Oh. So if you go through my YouTube, you'll find my psychotic episodes. I mean, they almost killed me, and I've wanted to, have some positive thing come out of it, aside from, near-death experiences, which adds character. So there was a psychotic episode because of the drugs my neighbor gave me, then the one with the NOPD Academy, and then the isolation in Seattle, Christian girlfriend, Orange County Jail one, and then there was one. I was living in the gallery. I think it was after the police force, and my paintings weren't selling very well, and the gallery owner really didn't have much interest, I think, in having me succeed very well, because I was drunk with her one night on her porch. Not weed. And she told me that the only reason that I was working with her was because I couldn't do anything else. And the next day I was gone. It's called elopement. I've done it a few times. Whenever you're like, ooh, no good, no good. I can't do anything else. I should have painted more Cafe du Monde, I think. Yeah. Monongahela. Oh, fire. So I don't know what triggered this one. It was depression or something, or it was just perhaps narcissistic collapse. That might have been it. Borderline psycho! Ah! So I woke up in the morning and I went into the front of the gallery, and my paintings were turned upside down. I don't remember turning my paintings upside down. And the day before, the gallery owner was with me drinking. That's what we did mostly. And I can see like this discharge from underneath the American flag on the main building there. It looks like it's puking just into the Monongahela. So she was with me at the desk, and we were talking and drinking. Drinking and talking. Those go hand in hand sometimes. And I was blogging, and probably one of the earliest trolls there ever was on the internet. I did it for a while, and then it got boring, and then it got popular like many years later. But I was one of the first trolls. And I was really good at it because I never cursed or attacked the character. I just made arguments against their arguments and made them look stupid. I made them piss themselves off. It's fun. And they would eventually attack my character. You're a fucking Satanist, atheist, piece of shit. So, and I was getting worried because I was like pissing off a lot of people. A lot of Christians with guns and money. And anytime I would say something about one of my arguments I was making, or one of the people I was making go crazy, the radio would get scratchy, and it did it like 10 times. And I was like, Nancy, have you noticed that every time we're talking about like the Jesus, the stuff, or the war or something, it's my throat. My throat hurts here. Holy shit! It's toxic. This is a toxic fucking place. Alright. She acknowledged it. She said, yeah, that's weird. And I was like, this was the night before my paintings turned upside down. And I was like, oh shit, there's an agency. I thought it was a humanist agency or Mensa or something was watching me and had plans for me or something. I don't know. I didn't know what the fuck it was, but it seemed to be like, if I had any team, it would be the nerds with no Jesus. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be rich. And I started looking online for cars to buy because, I had gone like, I think it was 10 years at that point or something. I don't think I had the car yet, the minivan. Did I? I don't know. It sucked. But I was looking at these like really expensive Mercedes-Benz. Nice. Wasn't looking at hybrids. I would pick differently now. But I saw this like, and I was like, oh shit, well, money's not going to mean anything, and I'm going to have a car. Why not get a fast car? A safe car. A car that commands respect. And it was super expensive. I forget how much it was. But I woke up in the morning. My paintings were turned upside down. I looked outside. Across the street was this fucking super expensive Mercedes-Benz, the one that I thought, oh, I'm gonna buy that one. It was the same fucking model. It's like, there's money in New Orleans, but it's like, so, I checked the mailbox. I'm like, okay, the keys in the mailbox? And I found a card, and it was, wagon maker? It was some wagon maker shit. Like, well, it's a gallery and there's like, so I think somebody wanted to sell the wagons, and I was like thinking, the first thing I thought of when I heard wagon was Wayne Millard Sutton. So I thought that was a message to go and see my father and get the answers for what the fuck is this going on. So I got in the car. I had a car. I had the minivan. Yeah. I didn't get in the Mercedes. The Mercedes disappeared. So I was like, oh, I'm supposed to keep this on the QT. Nobody's supposed to know. So I headed for Altoona to see my father, to get some fucking answers. And on the way, I turned on the radio, and this Coldplay song, and this was before there were all these daylight running headlights, and it was Lights Will Guide You Home. It came on. And then all at once, on the other side of the highway, everyone turned their lights on when that phrase came. And yeah, you know, I mean, sure, there are coincidences. That's a real fucking weird one. So I was trying to pick out who was in on it and who wasn't, and I thought I could start telling. I went into a Taco Bell, and it continued. I don't remember all of the weird things through the radio, and I was like, okay, so they have control of all these radio stations. Holy shit. Bob FM, I think it was I was listening to. Oh, and my name's Bob, and my stepfather's name's Bob, and my step brother that I never met, who's dead, is named Bob. So I was listening to Bob FM. Hey, no. I like to poison myself, you know? It's like, this I have no choice over. But this, it's like, yeah, poison yourself, brother. I'll get on the vape train someday. So I went into a Taco Bell and I ordered one of everything. And they thought that was weird. And I sat down and I tried to take one bite of everything, and I came to the conclusion I can't taste everything. So then I left the restaurant, and I could see that people were watching me. People were watching. So I was like, I'm just going to disappear. So I was like, you know, just as a test of my abilities, instead of going to my car, I just slipped into the woods. Went all around. Nobody could see me. And then I got back up into my car. I found a watch in the walk, in the woods. That was weird. So I kept driving, kept seeing all this weird shit. At a certain point, I realized, oh fuck. They can follow me. And they had I believed, tracking device in my shoe. So I stopped again in the woods. Pinched my shoe, and yeah, so they couldn't track me on foot. Of course, they could track my car. And then the shit on the radio became too fast. The response. I was like, "There's no way that this could be done with actual radio stations." So what did they do? They have a receiver in my car, and it's not live radio. It's radio specifically designed to go to me that they can program. And they use a computer search algorithm, whoop, get the right phrases. It's operated by a computer, not by people. People operating it. So I was like, wow, holy shit, this is bigger than I thought. I mean, it's like end the world big. Like, I remember on my way through Pittsburgh, I went through a back road, not where you would expect a person to drive, and because I wanted to lose them. That was in my paranoia of tracking devices. So I went down this back road, and I stole these letters off of a sign that said God, something about God saving everyone. Well, I stole the letters G-O-D. I still have them. It's called, they're called trophies. It's also, nice to have an object. It's like, yeah, this happened. You didn't imagine it happened. It happened. You fucking did that. Keep the receipts. I don't get busted. So I'm getting the message that I should probably run my car into Bishop Guilfoyle, the sign, as an arrival. And as I was doing that, I listened to the radio, and I was starting to actually take advice from these people, or whoever it was, and it was don't do that. So I didn't. I went to my father's house and knocked on the door. He let me in, and I was like, Dad, what the fuck is going on? And he said, I don't know what's going on. Are you on drugs? And I said, no, I'm not on drugs, which I wasn't. I hadn't been on drugs. Nobody would sell me weed in New Orleans. I had beer like 6 days prior. That's it. With Nancy. And it was him, Laura, and my step nephew. And I was like, so who is it? How big are they? Why are they doing this? What, like, because I assumed that he knew that he was in on it. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And I looked at him and I said, Dominic doesn't know? And Laura looked at me and said, no, Bobby, Dominic doesn't know. Instead of what she should have said is, we don't know what you're talking about. You're acting strange. So I stood up and I thought, oh, well, that meant Laura. That's how secret it is. Dominic, people within the families don't even know. So Laura knows, Wayne knows, Dominic doesn't know. Now I have to pretend I'm crazy to convince Dominic that this is all real, that I was just on drugs, whacked out of my mind. So I stand up and I go over to I said, I'm gonna get a beer. And I stand up and I fall over in the kitchen really bad because I'm not gonna hurt myself. And I can tell my dad knows that I was faking it. So that's pretty fucking weird, isn't it? So he's like, I'm gonna call the ambulance. And I said, I didn't say anything. I was non-responsive. And then the ambulance came and they dug in my sternum and I woke up real quick. I was pulling my shirt down because I didn't want my belly. I didn't want my belly to be showing. And they took me to the hospital. And I was in the hospital in the mental psych ward. And where are we here? Where are we? 19 minutes. I understood a lot of the crazy people. I think a lot of crazy people are just like people that received information that was like too much for a human brain. So I looked out the window at the mental ward, and there's a cemetery, of course, because that's what you need. A view of the cemetery from the psych ward. And that Mercedes-Benz. Now, sure, yeah, there's a lot of rich doctors, insecure doctors at Altoona Hospital, but I don't know, man. That's weird. It's weird. So I was like, I gotta break out of here. So I tackled the guard, ran down 4 flights of steps, and then up this hill near the hospital and hid in a little nook. And a truck came up the back alley and stopped where I was. And I was like, must be part of the team. So I hopped into the back of the truck, and there were two people sitting up front, and I just kept my head down because that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And they said, "You need a ride up to the top." And I said, "Yes." And I looked at the guy's hand and his watch, and it sounded like my father, and it looked like his watch. So I was like, "Oh, wow, okay." So he took me up to the top. I hopped out of the truck, and then they said, "Have a nice day." Fucking weird. And I started walking, and I was like, "Well, where am I supposed to go now? What am I supposed to do?" And I just went in people's backyards. I walked through somebody's house. There's these two older people sitting watching TV. I sat down beside them for like 3 minutes, and they were puzzled, but I did that. And then walked through their house, walked through backyards, and then there was a trampoline in one of these yards. So I got on the trampoline and started bouncing, and I could hear people laughing in the homes, and the laughter sounded like my father's voice. So I got off the trampoline, went out to the street, and just sat on the side like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? What is this all about? And I sat there, and this police car pulls up, and it's got my number on it, 108. And my dad was friends with the cops in Altoona, and I just assumed that they were, of course, they were newer cops. So I don't think they're the good old boys. I got in the cop car, they took me back to the hospital, and I was like, well, this is fucking weird. I'm not supposed to break out. So I spent a week in there, or 2 weeks, I don't fucking remember. It was a time in those places. And when I got out, I had no money. Before I left New Orleans, I withdrew all of my money from my bank. And the last tank of gas and the Taco Bell experience was about it. Fuck, just litter. It's organic, bitches. So when I got out, I didn't have any money, and my mother wouldn't let me stay at her house. My father didn't want anything to do with me, of course. So my mom said, "What are you gonna do?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't have any money. I can't drive anywhere. I can't stay with you." So she sent me to this Christian place where there are old people and really, really, really disturbed individuals. And they had really bad Christian television running nonstop, and my mother wouldn't give me my laptop because she said that writing is what caused me to go crazy. Or no, not writing, the internet. The internet is what caused me to go crazy. Which, what I did on the internet was blogging. I wrote a lot. So I started sneaking out of that place because it was just bologna sandwiches, bad taste. And I walked around the neighborhood, and I almost stole a Jeep because I was like getting messages because of course, I'm still getting messages from this huge agency. Signals. It's not direct communication. They're like, "You need a ride." I was like, "Yeah, I do need a ride." I mean, I had a ride, but it was at my mom's house with no gas, and I needed to get back to New Orleans and start writing again on my computer, on my laptop, not on fucking napkins at some Christian house. and I almost stole a Jeep. I looked at it. I looked in it. The keys were in the Jeep, and I was like, no. Grand Theft Auto, no. Fuck you. You know, so I did a lot of things up until that point. At that point, I was like, no, this is bad advice. If they needed me to get a car, they wouldn't have me stealing a car and then being fucking, you know, wanted. No, they wanted me to discredit myself by going to the hospital. That's what that was for. Discredit myself. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. It is. Oh, that's a nice one. It is valuable. Yeah, being a little scary. So I didn't steal the Jeep. I almost hopped on a train and lost my leg. I found a nice, really, really intricate piece of slag that I still have today and treasure. And got out of the Christian place. My mom gave me my computer back, and that felt much better, being able to work out some shit. And I had no place to stay and no money. So my friend, who had an appliance store, I started working with him with one of his delivery guys, and his grandmother let me stay with her. And the delivery guy was a shady character, crack addict. Probably not the best person for me to be hanging around, but I think I only did crack with him once or twice. Because, you know, crack isn't my jam. I don't think it's good for the system. Nor is smoking, but... if you're gonna get lung cancer, you might as well fucking enjoy it. Ooh, a tugboat's coming. Gotta move this along. Okay, So I stayed at my friend's grandmother's house, and I thought, still getting message, discredit yourself, make yourself completely fucking... So I was like, how can I do this? I was sleeping, or I was in the... That's really loud. There's a train. I was sleeping in the living room with her and watching this really bad Adam Sandler movie. And I was like, oh, well, jerk off and eat your cum. So that's what I did. And I couldn't stay at her house anymore. I don't know. Somehow I managed to make money and went back to New Orleans. Kept painting. And for 2 years, it drove me nuts. For 2 years, I was like, who are they? How big are they? Why are they doing this? How long have they been doing this? What is the purpose? How am I involved in this? And for 2 years, it was torturous. I kept seeing these things. It's like, I guess, high functioning psychosis. And then that's whenever the next big episode where I went psychotic, meaning like my reality testing went out the fucking window, was in Seattle. So yeah, I'm weird. I'm a weirdo. I'm not crazy. I know when I'm crazy, and you would too. So it's all a puzzling, right? I had no idea up until just very recently that people didn't believe my stories, didn't believe what I said, didn't believe. And I'm really gullible because I believe every fucking thing everybody says. I'm like, what purpose do you have to lie? Unless I'm like, they really want, if I have something they want, then I can see where the lies are. unless then, I'm like, what is the purpose of lying? And apparently the purpose of lying for so many people is because they have these really, really weak egos. I don't. I mean, I say I was I had the NPD bubble. I don't know, whenever I pretended to pass out in my father's dining room, I could sense my insecurity. My insecurity is my chubby belly, which I can work on. I can do that, Just do it. I can do it. I can do it. And poverty. That's like, all you gotta do is get off of drugs, Skid Row fucking people. No, the system has to change, man. It's not the people. They're killing themselves slowly. That's what they're doing. They're all doing that. They don't want to kill themselves. They want society to change. Yeah. But if they don't have security, there's no way they'll get better. On or off drugs, man. You stay off drugs. I went fucking bonkers. No drugs. Zero drugs. No cannabis, no alcohol, no nicotine. Fucking zero drugs. It's not the drugs. It's the conditions that make people, and if the conditions get bad enough, which this is what makes me fucking happy with all you rich assholes. If the shit really does collapse, we're ready. We know what the fuck to do. You rich people can't even wipe your ass. Oh, that's gonna be a grand narcissistic collapse in Los Angeles. Time to move, Dr. Romney.